Dawn Moore here again with you today. I know that I recently discussed with you contingent offers or sale of other property contingencies in our video. However, in that video, I discussed the effect of buyer's waiver of such a contingency in this day of backup contracts and multiple offers. Today, however, I'd like to address the specific contingency under that addendum. The contingency under the sale of other property addendum is not just the sale of the property by the buyer, but rather it is the actual receipt of the proceeds by the buyer from that sale. This is a significant detail because the contingency under that addendum goes on to state that if that contingency, that is, the actual receipt of the proceeds from the sale, is not satisfied or waived by the time specified in that addendum, then the contract terminates and the earnest money is refunded to buyer. The addendum goes on to state that time is of the essence for purposes of this addendum. Strict compliance with the time deadlines is required. And I remind you that if the contract automatically terminates for the buyer, it automatically terminates for the seller. In this day of multiple offers and backup contracts, perhaps the seller wants just that to happen. My warning to you then is if the contingency is the actual receipt of the proceeds, don't plan a domino closing on a Friday or at the end of the month where the buyer goes in to sell their property and then either at the same title company or a different title company goes immediately there to do his purchase. You cannot expect the proceeds necessarily to flow immediately from the sale to the purchase. And if the contingency is actual receipt of proceeds, buyer may find themselves in a position where their contract under their purchase has been terminated because the contingency was not satisfied by the time specified. There is an alternative to a buyer who finds themselves in such a position, and that is that they can waive that contingency. There is a provision under the addendum that allows the buyer to waive that contingency upon notice to the seller and deposit of a already specified earnest money sum. That can be done quickly at the closing if they find themselves in such a spot. But I needed you to be aware of the specific contingency that's actual receipt of proceeds, and don't time yourself such that the buyer could be knocked out of that contract. The buyer could be knocked out of that contract and find themselves still obligated to sell their house, but with no place to go. I hope this helps you as you work with these kind of contracts in the future. And if you have any questions, please call on me or any of my team at Allegiance Title Company. We want to become your resource for results. Thank you.